It's Big Ten Preview Week on Lacrosse. Now let's dive into Paul Rables' alma mater.
The Blue Jays were a team destined to miss the NCAA tournament a year ago until they rattled off back-to-back wins over rival Maryland at the end of the year.
Yeah, those wins propelling the Jays into the NCAAs. Hopkins nearly beat Penn State in the Big Ten title game on the way to doing that, but they would eventually lose to Notre Dame in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, finishing the year at 8-8. Part of the reason for the success down the stretch, the emergence of freshman Joey Epstein as the quarterback of the offense. He turned it on, averaging 6.5 points per game in his last 4 games in his freshman season, including a ridiculous 9 points in that Big Ten title loss to Penn State. He did miss Hopkins' scrimmage this weekend with an injury, but is not expected to be out long. They're expecting to have him back. One of the other key offensive pieces that is also back for Hopkins is Cole Williams. The now senior didn't take the big step forward that many thought he would last season. His point total dropped from 49 to 46, scoring 8 fewer goals in 2019. Still, at 6'5", 215 pounds, he's an imposing, physical, talented athlete as an offensive player for defenses to try and handle. But while the Jays bring back a bunch offensively, they've got some questions to answer on defense. Check the pieces that Hopkins is looking to replace. Patrick Foley graduated. Jack Rapine would have been a senior, but he has left the program. Really, the one big player at that end of the field that is back is Owen Colwell. Otherwise, the rest of the roster returns 0 starts at close defense. Going to be some fresh faces at that end of the field. Last month at the coaches convention, Tom caught up with Coach Dave Petrov.
I mean, you finished up last year it's sort of on the upswing with a couple of those big wins over Maryland, and then obviously lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But is that sort of just, hey, we got to get back to work here and maybe fix some of those things that you just mentioned and looking towards 2020?
Yeah, you know, it's been it was a summer of soul searching for staff and players. It was a fall of less talk and more do. We felt like we needed to get back to work. There's been a great focus on fundamentals, both offensively and defensively, and how those fundamentals impact the game. But it was a positive fall. We talked a lot about accountability, and that may be the largest word or the most important word that we used all summer and all fall and all winter.
And you speak to that, and if you think about a guy like Joey Epstein, who you had talked, obviously had some great things to say about before last season, and he comes through and Legion points and all these categories, then you make him a captain. What's that say about him?
Well, I didn't make him a captain. The guys did. Our process for captain is they select them, and then I have the ability to add or take away, and didn't feel the need to do that in any way, shape, or form. You know, Joey's done a great job of putting a lot of peer pressure on our team, and I don't mean positive peer pressure. Normally when you hear peer pressure, you don't think of good things. He has put a lot of pressure on our guys in terms of the amount of time they're putting in, the extra time they're putting in, how detail-oriented they are, how competitive they are. I mean, this is a young man that's, he may be one of the hardest, if not the hardest worker that I've ever had, but I think the thing that's been most impressive about him, and I find myself talking more about this than I do his actual play, is how consistent he is. He does it day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. And, there are valuable lessons that his peers and his classmates and our older guys can take from that. And I think they did a good job. And I think they showed a lot of courage to elect a sophomore as a captain, because he does check most of those boxes.
Yeah, for sure. And a good guy to sort of build your program around and have in that room, which Absolutely. I think is great.
Thank you.
You can see the rest of that on demand. I
yes.
had a lot of good points to say there. Come on.
Check it out on demand. Or
Watch it.
Coaches, IMLCA Coaches Convention interviews. Dave Petrov, also known as one of, if not the best defenseman of all time as a player, 3-time first-team All-American, led the Blue Jays to the 1987 championship, finished runners-up in 1989, won the Schmeiser Award as the top defensive player in the country as both a junior and a senior.
Petrov also spending time with Team USA, named the most outstanding player at the 1990 World Championships in Australia, winning a gold medal along the way. Also on the All-World team in '94, winning another Team USA gold. He has 2 Hall of Fames to his name. this spring will be honored by the Tewaaraton Foundation as this year's Legend Award winner, as we mentioned.
Yeah, pretty spectacular honor for him. The award only for his playing days, but it's his coaching career. It's also impressive. Also has won a couple of national championships, 7 Final Fours. He's coached 91 All-Americans in 19 seasons at Hopkins.
And you can see Petrov and the Blue Jays on LSN this spring when they visit Delaware, Tuesday, March 17th. Hopkins and Delaware, 7 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day. Live on LaxSportsNetwork.com and the new FTF Next app.